Good morning and welcome to our webinar, How to Harness the Power of Your Partners Using Social Media. Today we have Gowan, the social marketing leader from Sienna, and we have Cameron Yates, our Senior Client Success Manager at EveryoneSocial. Before we get started, we just thought we would talk a little bit about who we are and why this topic is important to us. EveryoneSocial is an employee advocacy program. We help employees become thought leaders and support them using social media outlets to kind of share their knowledge and company knowledge throughout the world via their social media channels. We thought this would be an interesting topic to approach because while our software can be used for employees, Bo also has this amazing integration where he's using an employee advocacy software by EveryoneSocial to empower his partners in the same way. So to kind of get us started, I'll just give you Cameron Yates, and he will tell you a little bit more about that. Cameron?
Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. As you had just heard from Elle, we are an advocacy platform, and what we really like to do is take an approach that's a little different from everybody else as it relates to how you can actually support your employees, providing an advocacy solution and allow them to get out and use social media to benefit themselves as well as your organization. So for us, employee advocacy and employee engagement means a little bit different things to different folks, depending on how you interpret it and where the initiative is coming from. Our approach is a little bit different in that we firmly believe that better informed and better educated employees are more valuable to both their industry as well as their employers and organizations. So we actually strive to help people get a little bit more excited about learning and progressing through content. As you see, the more you know about your industry and are on the up and up of what's going on, both inside and outside of your four walls, the more engaged you are at work. And so we recognize that folks have different ways in which they like to receive and consume content. From those that want a more dictated and spoon-fed approach to those that are more proactively looking for and even curating content on their own, we provide a simple way to curate, organize, and distribute meaningful content to employees and channel partners. And so as you can see, the more informed you are, the more educated you are, the more capacity you have to actually lead conversations and benefit yourself and set yourself up as somebody that understands what is happening within the space they work within. As you do that, you ultimately will become more valuable to yourself as well as your organization. And so as Bo gets into talking a little bit more around how advocacy and social media can help your channel partners, you'll hear him talk about things such as streams and talk about ways in which the platform and advocacy is able to benefit those organizations. So what we would like to do is orient you with the platform a little bit. The old ways of advocacy were predicated on sending emails. There's now a new way for employees to access information that's most relevant to them. So employees, it's proven, that are on an actual advocacy tool rather than an email newsletter share 38 times more content than they would otherwise. Now, we recognize that folks have different ways in which they like to receive and consume content, and so what we did is we actually set up the way for you to have an outflow of content coming from your company as well as create your own inflow of content for your own personal interests. So whether you're having a spoon-fed approach or something you'd like to dictate on your own, our platform makes it very simple. And so what we're looking at here is the actual EveryoneSocial platform. And you can see in the upper left that you have a streams area where you have content that's curated by your organization to provide you topically specific information that helps you become more educated about what's happening in the company, the industry, your specific job functions, as well as any creative solutions that you'd like to implement for employees. So from there you can see that you have all the content there for you. Below these streams, you'll notice that we have a personal area where you can actually creatively pull in information that helps you, whether you have prospects you'd like to listen in on, conferences you'd like to hear about the vendors or the topics that will be discussed, projects you'd like to learn more about in order to help you become more successful. Whatever it is, our solution allows you as an individual, as an employee, to creatively come up with the information that will help you be better and to more intelligently speak on the topics that are interesting to you. And so what you'll hear Bo talking about in a bit is how he's able to allow access to his partners to this platform and how he has structured it in order to provide benefit to them. And so now that you kind of see how the process works, you see that you actually can share content out from this to your social media streams. You're able to create conversations very quickly by having an organized library of information. We want to talk a little bit about how advocacy works, and so you can have an understanding of how you actually will have a mutual benefit from both the company as well as the employee. So we're not going to provide this to our partners unless we understand that there is a mutual benefit for everybody involved. And so what we truly believe is that a successful advocacy initiative creates an organic synergy between an organization and its employees where everybody benefits and nobody feels like they're putting in too much work. This should be something that everybody understands they benefit from, and it really shouldn't take that much time or effort from either party to be successful and to be able to drive engagement as well as enable employees to have their own thoughts and intellectual knowledge. And so first, let's go into the employees. If I'm an employee, whether I'm a partner or whether this is something in your own organization, what am I going to get out of an advocacy employee initiative? And so we've already talked about how you can become more valuable. If you're more knowledgeable and you understand what it is that you need to be doing on a day-to-day basis, and you're able to go out and actually talk to people in an intelligent manner, lead conversations, and become somebody that everybody else looks to and understands that these individuals really understand what they're talking about when they are sharing information, that benefits you professionally. It also benefits you as you'll have more confidence internally within the organization. As you are actually creating a name for yourself and becoming recognized as a subject matter expert, you'll have new opportunities to come about. So whether you're invited to speak at conferences, whether people just pop into your office and ask for your opinions a little more often, whatever it may be, becoming somebody that really understands the space you're working within benefits you and will certainly open doors. As you are taking the advocacy platform and using it to share content, you're also going to gain visibility within the leaders inside and outside of your organization, as well as you'll start building relationships with these people. So if you're a salesperson or a marketing person, even if you're a head developer, there certainly are peers that are out there within our professional networks that we can benefit from having a much more solid ground in which they think of us. And so once you're able to do that, you start having this knowledge share where you're sharing content with them. They'll probably come back and share content with you. It really creates kind of that synergy we had just talked about where everybody's trusting everybody a little more. You can have more creative and in-depth conversations about the topics that are more pertinent to you. So as an employee, this is going to make you more valuable, and ultimately it'll make you more knowledgeable, and it will benefit you inside and outside of your organization. From the organization standpoint, what the platform itself and advocacy as a whole will do for you is it allows you to get information and create more valuable employees without having to construct and send lots of emails, internal communications that essentially ask people and are representing the brand and placing kind of how you would like your communications to go out. It makes it very, very simple, and in a matter of an hour or 2 a week, you'll be able to dictate your entire advocacy platform. As your employees are actually sharing your content, you'll hear later that there is a certain mix that we really look forward to, but your employees will certainly be sending out some of the content that you are producing as a company as well. So you'll increase your web traffic as well as engagement with your corporate brands. You'll have more new leads and revenue coming into your website as a result of information being sent out to the professional networks. You'll have increased SEO value as you'll have multiple links that are linking back to your website, and as well as your brand reach. There tends to only be 2 to 3% overlap between the social networks of your corporate brands versus the networks of your actual employees. So you have an entire new audience that you're able to get out and get your information in front of, whether it's around the company or the industry as a whole. We also have the ability to social sell at scale. And social selling is essentially the ability for your salespeople to get out in front of prospects, lead conversations, and instead of having cold leads, you warm prospects up by providing pertinent information. Employee engagement and retention is also another huge benefit. As we had mentioned, if you as an employee are engaged with the information and you understand what's happening within your company as well as the industry and how everybody's working to stay ahead of the curve, then they're ultimately going to be much more engaged with what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. Finally, an advocacy platform also can save HR recruitment costs by allowing your employees to ultimately share job postings and opportunities within the company to their networks. Typically, your employees and the people that they know have much higher quality candidates than people out of the blue that you have zero idea where they're coming from. And so next we just kind of wanted to show you how these can tie into one another. We work with Dell. They're another one of our huge clients that we work with, and they've seen a drastic benefit by employing an advocacy platform. And so you can see here that they actually have over 10,000 employees, and over the last 12 months, they've generated over 150,000 shares that resulted in 45,000 clicks. Most of those were to industry-related information so that other people, whether it be prospects or potential partners, ultimately understood better how Dell sat within the structure of that industry. You can see that the audience is 1.2 million people, so they're actually able to go out with 10,000 people and create an audience of 1.2 million folks. So that's over 1,000 people per employee. You can see that their content mix, which you'll hear Bo touch on here in a bit, is around 80% industry content and 20% company. So out of those 45,000 clicks, you can say that almost 10,000 of those actually came back to Dell's actual branded web properties. And you can see from the quotes here from Amy Heiss that they really truly believe that an advocacy platform is really being an advocate for your employees. It's not about asking your employees to share out nothing but your own company content. There should be an informative process that actually helps your employees as well as your customers. And as well, you can see that they truly do believe that their advocacy platform makes people feel more closely connected to Dell's strategy, and it allows their employees to be engaged. And so as you can see, you know, this is an industry that is growing, and there is certain metrics that have led to it being something that people feel like they can invest in. So as you indicate that you have your own advocacy platform, you might want to know, how are we going to get this from outside of our employees and our internal networks to our actual partners? And so what about your partners? What are they going to get out of this? We understand now how this can help both your employees as well as your company, but how is it going to help somebody that's not in your internal network? And so this represents an opportunity for you to actually be an advocate for your partner. You can see how the platform provides the opportunity to disseminate information, and your partners can also benefit from having that same information. So this is you extending an olive branch to your partners to say, we have a resource that will be helpful for you. Additionally, this is a value add for your partners. So they'll look at you as one of their partners that actually provides resources that benefit them. This is you thinking strategically around how you can help the people that help you. Finally, the information saliency is something that would benefit both you as well as your partners. So if you think about it, how do people find you currently? Are they going out to actual Twitter and looking up your Twitter handles? Are they Googling you or using other search engines? This is an easy way for you to congregate all of your information into one easy interface in order to send that out to your partners. And so what we like to do now is turn it over to Bo and allow him to really talk a little more around how he at Sienna has been able to implement a partnership program that benefits everybody involved and allows them to move forward in a better, more strategic partnership. So Bo, we're going to hand it over to you.
Thanks, Cameron. Appreciate the setup there. Let me share my screen for everybody to see. So Cameron talked a little bit about the baseline of employee advocacy and the EveryoneSocial platform. I am the social media leader at a company called Sienna. We're a high-tech company, and we've been using the tool for a couple of years. And we have, over the last year, extended that out to some of our partners and even a couple of our customers. So what I'll do is get a little bit deeper into how we're using the tool. First of all, I'll give you just a quick baseline of who we are and what we mean by partners, because different companies have kind of different definitions of what's a partner. I'll talk a little bit about the background of our social program and why we even started with an employee advocacy platform and program, and then I'll dig deep into some of the details around what we're doing specifically with partners, and then we'll have some time for Q&A after that. So who is Sienna? So from a technology perspective, this is Sienna. We sell this gear. which is basically fiber optic equipment. So for this call, for anytime you're on your phone, anytime you're connected to the internet or to your network, or whenever businesses connect to each other over networks, they're using our gear, basically, in many cases. Very long lead times for sales, things like that. And the people that we sell our gear to is people you've heard of. They're Verizon, they're AT&T, Sprint. Globally, we sell to about 1,300 customers, and they're all generally, again, they're what we call service providers. They provide internet services to people and to businesses. So that's who we are. Whenever Cameron was talking about, the benefit of an employee advocacy platform for employees, and it kind of resonated whenever he was talking about being better informed and more knowledgeable for the people that you're sharing with. That's a big deal for us, and it's a big deal in our industry because there's so much high tech. We deal on a daily basis with new technologies all the time: cloud computing, data center interconnect, acronyms like NFV and SDN. We have an acronym guide that we publish that has 3,000 acronyms in it. So everyone in our industry is always trying to learn more and keep up to date with the technology. And that includes our partners. And that's one of the reasons why an employee advocacy program works for us, because it helps with that education side of things. So just a quick look at what we kind of got into with our employee advocacy platform, the program, which started a couple of years ago. So I've been the social leader for Sienna for going on 7 years. And a couple, 3 years ago, we were doing great. We had a very well-defined corporate social media program, an established blog. We were doing great with our corporate channels on the main social platforms that everybody uses: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. But from an employee perspective, we were still evolving from being a very conservative company. From a social perspective and a corporate culture perspective, we had a lot of employees who weren't quite sure what they could do, what they were allowed to do. And even if they were allowed, since so few people did it, they didn't know how, they didn't know what to share. So that was a really big initial step for us, was putting a platform in place that allowed people to say, look, this is approved and curated content that you can share. Similar to that, we had executives and subject matter experts in our company that were really well known in the industry. They were, keynote speakers at trade shows. They were very well known with customers. But you went online and you looked for them. You did a Google search, and they had almost no digital profiles. So another thing that we wanted to do with the platform was create a digital profile for some of our executives and SMEs. The other thing was scale. I am a team of one at Sienna for our social media program, and we needed a way to expand our social program to our employee base at scale with few resources. And so that was another reason to look at a platform. And then we did have, even though we didn't start with partner engagement, we knew in the future that it was something that we might want to look into, is actually extending out this platform and pushing some things out to our channel partners. So then we did about a 6 to 9 month rollout with a test pilot group of about 25 people within our marketing group, just to test out the concept of employee advocacy. It went over really well. And that got us to a point where we decided, okay, let's look for an enterprise, scale platform. Worked with EveryoneSocial, and we've been using the EveryoneSocial platform for the last couple of years. We have now scaled up to where we have multiple hundreds of users across marketing, across our sales team, our HR and talent acquisition team is using it, and also our partner team is using it. We have Cameron was talking about content streams. So we actually have different topics and regions where we put specific content for that topic or that region into separate streams so that people can choose a stream that works best for them. And for the year that just ended, our 2016 year just ended on our fiscal calendar, we had 34,000 employee shares through the platform. So it's ramped up quite a bit over the last year or two for us. So that's kind of the background on how we're using an employee advocacy platform. And again, that big message is there's so much information for us that giving that content to our employees for them to share and know that it's approved content to share is a big deal for us from a company side. So as we got into deploying EveryoneSocial, we started getting feedback from our partner teams, the people within Sienna who have relationships with our channel partners, that they were interested in offering this to our partners. So let me just set the table of what I mean by partners and what our partner sales and marketing model is. So again, Sienna is a B2B company, heavy B2B. We have very long sales cycles. Sometimes they can take over a year. Very heavy in education, awareness, and influence, because there's so much technology in our industry. We have direct sales to our largest customers, about 1,000 of our largest customers, but then we use partners to sell mainly to enterprises, to small to medium businesses, to governments, and then to some smaller service providers that are more kind of just for local area service providers. We usually sell to those people through our partners. A lot of our biggest customers are also channel partners. So, I mentioned Verizon and AT&T as customers. Well, they also sell our equipment as part of a solution to businesses. So if a business wants to connect two locations, they help build them a network that uses our equipment. And they're also using our competitors' equipment, right? So Verizon and AT&T don't just use our gear. We have competitors, our channel partners, basically use solutions from multiple different companies, and so we have to compete for mind share. We have to make things easy for our partners so that whenever the time comes for their sales and marketing teams to talk about their solutions and the things that they sell, that they think of Sienna first because we're so easy to work with, right? So that's one of our goals as from a marketing perspective is to quote unquote enable our partners and partner enablement. So, and there's two different types of that. There's one is where we're marketing to our partners, actually educating them about here's our new solution, here is training, here's things that you can do. And then we also work with our partners to market to their customers directly, so basically co-marketing. We're working with them to market to small to medium businesses, doing joint efforts in the industry. So that's kind of a quick overview of what we mean by partners in our partner program. And it's a very diverse group. It can be, big guys like Verizon all the way up down to niche partners that basically cover a certain regional area, a certain area of the United States, or even a certain vertical like healthcare or government, things like that. So we have to have a very flexible partner program. So what we did was we started getting this feedback that this EveryoneSocial employee advocacy tool in the program that we had put in place was something that some of our partners might be interested in. So I started working directly with some of the people within the Sienna partner team that owned relationships with our channel. Our employee advocacy program and basically to the EveryoneSocial platform as part of our relationship with our partners. So for any of you who are, deal with partner marketing and partner programs, there's a catalog of things that you can offer to your partners for support and marketing and things like that. So we basically added this as an offering that we could give to our partners. And so what we generally do is those people within Sienna who have a relationship with our partners went out and they basically said, hey, here's a new offering that we have. Here's a new service that we can provide. And they usually started out with a marketing team because that's kind of where these types of programs reside. And it turned out that there was a lot of interest. So from a marketing perspective and a sales team perspective, our guys were really excited about this because it was another reason for them to be able to go out and make a contact with our partners and offer something new and different. And then it turned out that the reaction was really good. So what we started doing was doing discovery calls where we have a 30-minute call and basically show my counterpart, it's usually the head marketing person or the head social media person, a quick overview of what we did with the platform. And we settled on 3 different levels of engagement. And that's what I'm showing here in the slide. So from left to right, it's kind of from least amount of engagement to kind of full-on integration. So we started out with just having the social media leader be given access to one of our existing streams. So within EveryoneSocial, that's as easy as popping in an email address and saying give them access to the partner stream. And that's what we started doing so that they could see what the platform could do for what it did for us and what it could do for them. That was really popular. We almost have, we have to have at least a 90% success ratio with people saying, yes, sign me up. And, some of them keep using it, some of them say, they drop off. But in general, that first step of saying, yeah, I'd like to see what this is about has been really popular because a lot of our partners are interested in employee advocacy. They're either at a point where they're thinking about it or they've heard about it, and it's an easy way for them to understand a little more of what it's about. And then also for a lot of my counterparts, it's a great source of curated content because I'm putting in 10 plus pieces of content every day into our stream. And it's not just all Sienna news and Sienna white papers and collateral and marketing and sales material. It's industry content that I'm putting into the tool. So that first step has a really high success ratio for people who are wanting to just learn a little bit more about employee advocacy. Quite a few of those partners then kind of say, okay, I want to take the next step. And for us, that next step is usually getting adoption within one of their teams. It could be their marketing team where they say, hey, this is great. I want to put my entire marketing team within the platform where we can go to the dashboard and share content through the stream. Or it could be the sales team. But in general, the difference here is it's more people, a little bit more of a commitment to the platform, but it's still them consuming our existing content. And again, like I said, I've got about 6 streams that I manage for Sienna employees, and so they can pick one of those streams that works best for them. But they're still consuming content that we're providing for them. This level of commitment is engagement has been popular with teams who are, they might be a one-man team. They know they want an employee advocacy platform, or they want their teams to be more social, but they just don't have the resources to do it. And so then we come in and say, hey, we can get you signed up on this platform, and your team can be on an employee advocacy platform literally within days, right? So it's popular with people for that reason. And then also there are partners who are looking to take the next step for a pilot or a test of deploying their own employee advocacy platform. And so this is a really low-risk, easy, turnkey way for them to try out employee advocacy. And then on the far right here, what I call the white label solution, we've had a couple of our partners kind of get to this level, and this is really where they say, hey, we want this, we want to take the next step, but we want our own content. So it's usually larger groups, right? You're talking about full teams or organizations that are then brought into the tool. They're given admin access to the stream. So basically we create a stream for a partner. So partner A decides that they want to really go full-fledged in the tool. We create a stream for them, give them admin access. They can put their own content into the stream and then get their own emails, with content updates, their own reporting on how their teams are doing, and have kind of back-end reporting access to the tool, all kind of within that silo of that stream that we create for them. So they're still kind of they're separated out from the other Sienna streams that we have. This has been an option that, like I said, a couple of our partners have gotten to where they're really testing out an employee advocacy platform deeply on the expectations that they want to deploy this on a wide scale. So it's a low-risk way for them to do a trial of employee advocacy. So one of the questions that I've gotten multiple times whenever I am presenting this as a service to our partners is they ask me, because it's almost like it sounds, to them it sounds too good to be true. They're like, what's in it for you? Why are you doing this? Because we offer this, free, right? And the main thing that I would say is that the reason why we can offer this and extend this out to our partners is because for me, as kind of the one-man show from a social media perspective, it's a very low incremental cost in actual cost, but mainly resources, for a really high perceived value. Our partners see a lot of value in what we're doing here. And it's because of the fact that the platform can scale. We already have it up and running from an employee perspective. Adding streams and adding users is very easy to do within the tool, so it makes it to where I can actually turn up a new stream, add users in a very efficient manner, provide a really valuable service to our partners without truly adding a lot of extra work on our side. So why it works. So here's an example on the right side of the screen of some of the content that we send out. That's one of the emails that goes out whenever there's new content. One of the important reasons why it works and why our partners like the tool is because, like with the Dell example, we have minimum of a 2-to-1 split of content where most of our content is non-Sienna. We absolutely, put content in there about, for example, on the right here, the SC16. That's what we're doing at that show that's happening this week. Our blog posts go in there. If we have an executive do a byline, we'll put those in there. But that's the smaller percentage of the content. Most of what we put in the tool has to do with the industry, has to do with knowledge transfer, education in the industry as a whole. We put a lot of partner content in there. We put a lot of customer content in there. So that is a really big reason for those partners who are looking to find good industry content, but they don't want to be hammered over the head with Sienna news every single time that we're suggesting that they share something. Platform scale and automation, I kind of talked about that already. Buy-in and close coordination with our partner teams. So the only reason that this really works is because I've been working closely with our Sienna partner teams, and they have bought in and really been the ones to reach out to our to me so that we can have that coordination call and kind of get the process started. And the other thing is employee advocacy is hot. I mean, right now, what's happening is we are going out and we're talking to our partners, and it seems like a lot of those partners are in the process of kind of evaluating what's out there, evaluating, how do you run an employee advocacy program, what are the options, and for us to be able to provide that guidance and that leadership and that value to our partners, sometimes even very large partners that are much larger companies than us, but their social program just hasn't gotten that far with an employee advocacy program, we can provide that guidance to them. And then I'll give you a success story here. So this is kind of our most advanced partner to date in the program. It was a major North American partner that we had. They started out with the same process as everybody, having just their social media leader join. Within just a week or two, we had a small team join, and then they decided that they wanted to get their sales teams on the tool. And so within 6 months, maybe around 6 to 9 months, something like that, they had ramped up to couple of hundred users. They had multiple content streams that they managed themselves, and they were putting a lot of content in the tool themselves. And in fact, even with a couple of hundred people within their own streams, they were at the, they were basically running it themselves. I talked to my counterpart with this partner maybe once or twice a week, but the tool allowed them to basically run the stream themselves, right, with just a little bit of what I would call super admin support from me. And they eventually graduated to their own program. They proved it out, and one day my contact came to me and said, "Hey, it's been amazing. Thank you. We've decided we're going to run with this with our own platform, and we're going to do it next year." And so for them, we provided a great way to pilot and prove out an employee advocacy program that they eventually went and took live on their own. So I think this is my last slide, so the benefits of the program. So, and this is overall, this isn't just employee for partners, but some of this is partners and some of this is internal for our employees. The internal goals for our partners. So whenever we talk about why are we doing this with our partners, there's a couple of reasons. Increasing that perceived value to our partners, where again, we're competing with other our competitors for mind share with our partners to give that ease of use whenever working with us and enabling them to talk about us a little bit more, right? Delivering our content directly into their inboxes, right? So for the partners who are subscribed to a Sienna stream, even though it's mainly industry content, they are getting Sienna news. So it is a way for us to kind of deliver our content and our messages to our partners, which they want anyway. They're our partners. It's a really efficient way to get it to them. And then also, we just have this larger kind of goal or message around being a trusted partner. That's with our customers, that's with our partners, of not just selling them stuff, but really working with them through all the technology that's in our industry. And that philosophy is really reinforced with the EveryoneSocial platform and the employee advocacy program. And then, like I said, with the awareness with the partners, we're delivering stuff right to them. From a larger social media credibility perspective, internally, since we have launched our employee advocacy program, we've had a real culture change with our employees. There is significantly increased awareness internally and credibility internally with our social media program. It opens doors, right, for executives and SMEs, subject matter experts, and the important people that matter internally for us to see that we have a social media program that's leading edge. It makes them more open to engaging with us whenever we say, hey, let's do a blog post, or, let's get you, set up correctly on LinkedIn, things like that. We have that extra credibility because the EveryoneSocial program, the employee sharing program, has been so successful. And it's also opened doors with us for our partners to do other, other types of marketing, joint marketing activities. So with that, I will pause, say thank you, and then I guess turn it back over to you, Cameron, for any questions that we might have.
Perfect. Thank you, Bo. We will take a few questions. So if you have any, go ahead and go to the question box and you go to webinar control panel, and feel free to type those in and we'll answer them. We did get two while you were speaking, Bo, and it looks like they're both directed to you. The first one is, how are you presenting this program to partners as a perk? What is it? It sounds like they're asking, how are you making this known to your partners as a perk of your program?
Yep. So there's two different levels to that. So the first one was actually getting that buy-in from our internal teams that have those direct relationships with the partners, and having them go out and basically, communicate it as a new option. The next step that we're doing, and that's been really successful because we've got a great partner marketing team that's, out there and connected and has those relationships. But the next step is to actually embed kind of this employee advocacy program into our, what I would call a catalog of services that we offer to our partners, so that it's more official. We offer, something called marketing development funds, which is basically money that we give to our partners to spend on things, and we're looking at, basically having this be part of the MDF program, but it's mainly kind of formalizing it in that list of services that we offer to our partners.
Great. And the second question we have is, do you find that your partners are engaging in the content you're sharing and that they share it via their own social media channels?
They are. So actually, it's pretty interesting, because one of the things that I didn't really talk about here is, so we are putting our content absolutely, into streams, even in some of the streams that our partners are managing. They will pull in our content into it if they're managing their own stream. But they are absolutely sharing Sienna content. Clearly, they're sharing more industry content because, that's what we do, and that's what I would expect them to do. But actually, something that's really interesting is I get requests from our partners to say, can you put this in your stream? Can you help us because they see, what we're doing on our side with our employee social program. So they think of us as a partner in helping amplify their news, and that's kind of an ancillary benefit where they're, if they've got a blog post or a piece of news or whatever, they're very likely to say, hey, can you please put this in your tool, so that not only we can share it, but we want, your entire user base to share it as well. So that's another benefit that I think our partners see from the platform.
Great. Well, thank you, Bo. It doesn't look like we have any other questions, but thanks, Bo, for joining us from Sienna, and thank you for joining us as well. And we will send out slides and the recording of the presentation later to all who have attended and registered. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thank you.